sex, lies, manipulation, a fight for survival. That is the story of Bone Lake. Now, when you look at Bone Lake, it is programmed and it is really advertised as a horror mystery movie, and that is what you get. Now, if you've ever been in a situation where you're reading clues, trying to figure out what is going to happen next, that is what you get with Bone Lake. Now, this is a film based on a romantic getaway, a new start in a career. They want to kind of explore and get away while they can. But then an additional couple shows up. Now, in doing so, it creates a lot of tension, but also a lot of uncertainty about why there is another couple at the same booking. Now, Sage and Diego set out on this journey because Diego is finding himself in a new part of his life. He's trying to do something different, but then Sin and Will show up. Now, what you get is really a title of a movie, which is actually, the more the film went on, was hilarious. That is twofold. The lake is called Bone Lake, but all they are there to do, in a sense, is bone. Let's just call it what it is. And so it really becomes this story of how are the Will and Sin going to factor into the Sage and Diego situations. Now, obviously, Sage is very unhappy with their romantic life, and you see that throughout the film. But what makes this movie understandable is, as a horror movie film, you are getting more of the mystery at the beginning. Really, throughout the first, I would say, hour of the movie. And that makes this film incredible from that aspect. Now, when you're looking at the characters, I think it is something you can sit down and watch and understand the perspective of each. You understand Diego, what he is going through. You understand Sage and really kind of feel for her in a sense. But then Will and Sin are the two mystery characters that are playing things off in a way that seems to be a game to them. And that's what you get. The whole basis of this film is a game of, do you really trust the person you're with? Now, we don't really get a backstory of Will and Sin, but I will say I think the way they introduce it and the timing they introduce who they are really is a perfect way to segue into what is about to happen next. And so what I think this movie did an excellent job of was really detailing that it is a mystery. You really don't know what is going to happen. You kind of get clues. But then the way that it just hits you in the head and says, this is what the whole point of this is, they do it very well. Now, I think if you are somebody that is going into this film thinking it's going to be an extreme horror movie, there's going to be creepiness throughout, you're not really getting that. You're getting mind games. You're getting trust issues. But I will say, the ending of the movie is the one negative thing that I would say. I think they could have come up with a better way to wrap everything up. However, the beginning of the movie is complete chaos. And I think that chaos allows you to kind of have an idea of what you are going to see at some point in the film. You just don't know when. But when it comes to Bone Lake, I think you have good characters where you understand their perspectives. I really enjoyed the way that the film details the mysterious game of trust and love. But I also really enjoyed the overall storyline of the movie. Because without a solid storyline in a film like this, it could really just dwindle. You could get lost. You could get confused. And I will say in this one, that is not the case. But then if we have to look at cons, I think there are a couple things that really stand out. And the first point I have already made is the way that it ends. Now, the way that the ending happens, I get it. You just got this big buildup and everything went the way you would expect it to. But then I just feel like there could have been more to the ending. It could have been more symbolic than what it was. And so that for me is a takeaway where I'm like, there could have been something different to allow this movie to stand out. I also think another con of this movie is a little bit of how we are getting the backstory of things that have happened before. I think if they were going through and kind of detailed other events that have taken place earlier, it could have allowed the big, there it is moment to stand out a little bit more than what it did. Because by that point, you've already come to the realization of what is happening. So I wish they would have done that a little bit sooner. But as far as rating, for me, Bone Lake is a 4.2 out of 5. This movie was a movie that was a perfect runtime. They didn't add any fillers to it. You had good characters. You had an opportunity to understand the storyline. And it is one of those movies that I would definitely go see again. So Bleecker Street hit it perfectly with this one. Bone Lake is a 4.2 out of 5. I do recommend this movie. But stay tuned. I don't really know when the next reviews are going to be coming out as I leave for fall break. We have finally got a week off of school. So I will be heading to the mountains of Tennessee. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the continued support. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you all later.